What's up guys, my name is Kelvin Wiley and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new, if you could please hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to turn on post notifications. That way you're alerted every time that I post a new video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to take care of Heteropteryx dilatata, which is the Malaysian jungle nymph. This is actually one of my favorite species of stick insect and also one of my favorite species of insect in general. They're very easy to take care of. If you're familiar with taking care of any species of stick insect, these guys are pretty much the exact same care and requirement used for other species. So without further ado, let's just get right into this video. So these guys right here are Heteropteryx dilatata, Malaysian jungle nymphs. Like all stick insect species, these guys are herbivorous, which means that they feed on plants. Some of their favorite plants to feed on is bramble, oak, rose, ivy, and also raspberry. Now all four that I have in my hands right now are males. Specifically, these guys are subadult males. Subadult meaning that one molt away and these guys will actually be adults. And the way to tell that these guys are in their subadult stage is that they have wing buds. The wing buds are these little bud-like appendages right there, which are actually their premature wings. Now they can't fly yet, but when they become adults in their next molt, they'll actually have fully functional wings that they can actually be supported in flight. The females of the species, well, they have something called reduced wings, where the wings aren't fully functional, so they're actually not able to fly, but the males are capable of flight, unlike the females. Now this guy right here is my adult male, and this is the subadult male. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. This guy does have wings. Now the wings are a little tattered. Let me see if I can focus this, but the wings are a little tattered, and that is because sometimes stick insects will actually consume the wings of their other siblings. Now this is completely fine in terms of health. When they feed on their wings, it does not hurt them whatsoever, but you know, it just makes them look a little damaged and unaesthetically pleasing. So, but other than that, he's completely fine. The males actually have a pretty gorgeous set of hind wings. There's like hues of pink in there, which I find to be pretty gorgeous looking. Here's a close-up of those hind wings, just to give you an idea of what they look like. Now that you guys have seen what the adult males look like, I'm now going to show you what the adult females look like. So this is the adult female of this species. And as you can see, the females, when fully mature like this one, are absolutely gigantic. This is one huge insect. It's amazing how big these guys can get. Now as you can see, the males and the females of the species are completely different from one another, and that is because this species is what's known as sexually dimorphic. Now, sexual dimorphism is when a male and a female of the exact same species exhibit different characteristic traits, and in this case of this species, the males are smaller than the females, which is the case for most insects. The females typically tend to always be bigger. Not always, but most of the time. In this species, the males are brown, while the adult females are green. And not only that, but the males have wings and are able to fly, while the females, like I said earlier, have reduced wings, and their wings are not able to support them in flight. Here's the forewing, and that is the underwing. They have a nice pink underwing, almost like the males. Now these guys are completely harmless. They don't bite whatsoever. They are adorned in spikes, or thorns I should say, and that is actually their protection that they use against predators. And they actually use them to their advantage, because when these guys do feel threatened, both the males and the females will actually almost do like a handstand in a way, where they stand up on their forelegs and also using their mid legs, and they have their hind legs way up in the air, and they'll actually try to kick you and impale the thorns, which I'll show you. Let me get a close up. The thorns right there, and they'll try to drag them into your skin to draw blood. They're not doing that now, but when they do feel threatened, they will actually exhibit that defensive behavior. So besides being able to inflict pain using their hind legs by stabbing you with their thorns, this species will also stridulate. Stridulation is when an insect or other kind of animal will actually rub two or more body parts together to create a sound. And in this case, this species, they'll actually rub their wings together like this, which creates a almost like a crackling, like hissing sound, and that's to scare off potential predators. And I have seen her do that before. It's actually quite noisy. The Malaysian Jungle Nymph, the females are actually responsible for laying the world's largest insect egg. So out of all insects, these guys are actually able to lay the largest. And the appendage that the female will lay the eggs out of is this appendage back here. It almost looks like a stinger, but it's not a stinger, can't hurt you. But that's the ovipositor, and that's where the eggs get deposited out of, or from, I should say. Now their ovipositor, what the females will do is, after they have successfully mated with a male, they'll actually dig that appendage down into the soil to lay their eggs. And they'll typically do this in moist soil, and that is because the eggs have to be kept moist in order to thrive and to hatch. If the soil is too dry, the eggs will dry out and actually die and will not end up hatching. So, they have to be kept in moist soil, and the eggs take about 12 to 14 months to incubate. It's a very long time, but it is well worth it if you are able to successfully breed this species. Alright, so now I'm just going to show you guys how to create a suitable enclosure for them. It's actually very simple, so let's do that right now. Alright, so the enclosure that I recommend when keeping stick insects, especially this species, is using a mesh enclosure, which is like this type of material. It almost looks like a laundry hamper in a way, but this is just super easy for keeping them, and that is because they're able to grip and hang upside down in it, and also they're able to scale the sides of the enclosure as well. And then if you flip it around, it has a plastic transparent part so that you can see through the enclosure easier. So this is what I recommend, and I will leave a link to where you can buy a mesh enclosure, but this is what I like to use. So after you've gotten your enclosure, the next thing that you're going to need is a cup of water with a lid, and you're also going to make sure that the lid has a hole in it. If it doesn't have a hole, then you just have to make one. I find that using 32-ounce ventilated containers are the most suitable, and that is because the lids typically are made of mesh and they're easier to poke holes through. So you're just going to set that down right in the middle of your enclosure. Now the next thing that you're going to need are your plants. This is wild organic rose that I found outside. Now the one thing that I need to stress is that you cannot use plants that have been sprayed and treated with insecticides or pesticides, and that is because if your insects consume those plants, they will die. And I have had that happen to me in the past, and it is very unfortunate. So if you go out and buy your plants at maybe a florist, make sure you ask them if their plants are, organic, or if they've been sprayed with any type of chemicals. You just need to know that beforehand before feeding that to your insects. It's always best to go out in the wild and find the plants yourself. It's a lot more cost effective. I mean, it's free. You just go out in the woods and get your plants. And also, that it hasn't been treated with any type of chemical that could be harmful for your insect. So what you're going to do is then take your plants and place them into the cup. Now I know these guys are hanging at the top right now, and that's only because I placed them there so that I was able to build the enclosure and place the plants inside. But typically they would actually be hanging from the plants themselves, suspended from the vines, or the plant stems I should say, feeding on the leaves. So within a couple hours these guys are slow moving, but they'll actually be feeding on the leaves. So that is going to conclude this video. One thing I did forget to mention, which I just remembered now, is to spray the enclosure with filtered water about 1 to 2 times a day. This is just to give your stick insects some water to drink if they're thirsty. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, if you could please leave a like and a comment, and if you are new, if you could please hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to turn on post notifications. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.